first up, thanks for giving me your time, mate, and welcome to the Granite Zero podcast.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to share my story.
Nah, I'm pretty sure you've shared it loads. It's a hell of a story.
Well, it's a unique story, and hopefully people can learn from it. And what I mean by that is people going abroad to these countries, whether they go by themselves backpacking or as a group, you've got to be very vigilant on the police, because when you leave the more western side of Europe and go venturing to Eastern Europe and beyond, the police run the shop, basically. They pull a lot of strings, and bribery is a thing which in them kind of countries is like everyday occurrence, but you've got to make it out that you're not trying to bribe them.
Yeah, you can't just go, well, do you want a bit of this cash or not?
Yeah, you can't just go, like, you've got to kind of word things correctly, like, basically, right, okay, so how do I make this go away kind of thing. We weren't in that position, unfortunately, and it was never going to go down that route. We knew something, later down the line, we knew something bigger was at play.
Yeah. Well, we'll come across that as we go through the old pod. But obviously, your background, former paratrooper, I do believe.
Yes.
So what sort of guided you towards the paras? Is it just to be the best of the best?
Well, yes. Being in the childhood, growing up, like, you were always outside playing armies, and you'd find a stick, and basically, Alicia Russo's just scored. Sorry for interrupting that.
Get in there.
Come on, United ladies. Right on half time. Sorry, I just couldn't.
No, it's all good.
We just talked about Russo before.
He was, yeah.
But yeah, growing up, you would be out camping with your friends, and we'll be like, oh, we'll play armies, and you'd find a stick that would be shaped like a gun, and you'd snap a few twigs off, or you'd be like, oh, that was the childhood I grew up having.
Yeah, I know exactly where you're coming from with that. Like, it's the imagination you had as a kid to just pick up, like you just said, like pick up a stick and just that. I saw a photo the other day. I think it was on Facebook. It must have been on Facebook, and it was like a big list of different sticks. But it was like what weapon system each stick was, and I was like, "Oh, definitely." So you had the little one for a pistol, you had a rifle, a massive one for a fucking
a big log for a Lugar RPG type weapon. Yeah. Your imagination was tremendous. Now I see the kids, and I know times have changed, and it's like there's no imagination. They've got everything. They're still kind of bored, and that's why they're.
My two are quite good, to be fair. My eldest is an avid reader. Like she'd rather read a book than watch the movie, which is bizarre to me. Yeah, that's probably she
fly through my book.
She would love to read all sorts of books.
Well, like I say, obviously you just got to go off what the Amazon reviews say, and I can, not just say it because it's my book, but I am proud when I read people saying, "Nick, I picked your book up," and I nearly wet myself because I was so indulged in reading the book. I couldn't put it down, and I literally had to force myself to put it down because I was going to wet myself and had to go to the toilet and come back. And it's just nice to hear the lovely comments. Obviously, I'm always going to receive criticism, and you're going to get the idiot people.
Know exactly how you mean with that.
At the end of the day, you don't go to buy something and look at the bad reviews. You look at the good reviews because they're going to be the one that's going to give you the decision whether you buy or not.
Yeah.
Right? Because everyone's got their own tastes. Everyone, and I've tried to style my book in how many books I read. So you open it up and it's straight in the deep end, and then it goes back.
Yeah.
Way back. So my book's kind of like a biography, real crime, kind of book. So it is pretty interesting, and you get chapters wrote from my sister. So you're getting two sides to the, one big situation that my family and everyone found myself in. But yeah, growing up, I thought I want to join the army. I wanted to join the best. So I looked into joining the Royal Marines. And because I'm a short arse, and at the time, you had to be a certain height and be good at maths, where I'm not a certain height and I'm shit at maths. So
I think me and you come from the same song sheet on that one.
Yeah, so when I was in the careers office and I'd done my barb test, and it gives you that list of what you're able to do. Obviously, my local regiment's the Fusiliers, and so he was always like trying to sway me into joining the Fusiliers. And it was either that or a chef or a good old parachute regiment. And I went, well, no, I don't want to be a chef. That was when I was younger, because I was always like baking with my mum and all that. But being a chef, like not just like in the military chef, but it's a hard graft. And no, I can't be in the army. I want to be a soldier. I don't care what any person says. When you join the army, you want to be a soldier. You want to go to war. We know war's a horrible thing, and it's obviously we're doing dirty politicians' work. We know this, but tell me someone who joined an infantry regiment who didn't want to go in.
No, I totally agree. Totally agree.
If they turn around and say, "Oh, I want to go and see the world,"
that's that. I find that bullshit.
Yeah.
For me, when I joined I wanted to be a PTI when I first joined up as I went to the Air Force. Failed the aptitude test by about 2 marks on each time I took it, and then they gave me again, similar to you, a big long list of all these different jobs, and I went, which one's the next most physical? And they went, the RAF regiment. I was like, well, I'll have a look at that. Soon as I got in there, I was like, well, I'm definitely built for being in the infantry. Even though we get all the banter aside, going into the regiment, as soon as I got there, I was like, yeah. Well, I say as soon as I got there, the first month, I was a bit shit. Not gonna lie, ironing kit was not for me. But as soon as I got out in the field, out in the mud, carrying all that weight, I was like, yeah, I'm definitely an infantryman. I can't wait to.
Well, like I say, unless it's gone to more than just one platoon. In our big company, we had, I believe, 5 platoon was an RAF platoon. Whether they've got bigger and got their own company.
I don't know anymore.
Same with the Marines F company, that was one company, and obviously you had like the support elements of their company mixing in with our support, because obviously you need all 3 regiments to amalgamate into SFSG, but it is predominantly Parachute Regiment. And I was thankfully, yes, I would have loved to have been old enough to have joined the Parachute Regiment when it was still the Parachute Regiment. And like when I joined, I think we were a year or 2 years ahead of schedule. So obviously, Director of Special Forces and the powers to be, basically while we were half through our tour in Northern Ireland, they were obviously clearly impressed with our setup, our training, how ready we can be. Our motto is "You train the apparatus ready for anything." So if we say we want a company to be ready in 1 month to go kicking doors down in hostile environments, we will do that. And that's what happened. So halfway through Northern Ireland, the company went over to do deployment operations with UKSF. So that goes to show that we were definitely the right regiment to choose from. And it all stems from Sierra Leone, one para assisting the SAS in getting the hostages free. So that was really something that was a stepping stone, a driving force. And to be part of that to learn the different rules like counter-terrorism, and it was just an eye-opener. It was really interesting. And Parachute Regiment, yes, they're one of the youngest regiments out there, but they stand as one of being the best regiment, not
definitely.
just in the British Army, but world renowned.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
So I'm glad I joined the Parachute Regiments and not the Royal Marines. Not discrediting the Royal Marines, they are very good at what they do. However, what they can do, we do better, and I will say that. It was quite funny when we were doing counter-terrorism, like coming off helicopters, fast roping onto moving vessels, and then going down the ladders after clearing it and pissing off on rapes. And obviously, when the maritime kicked off, you were getting quite a lot of Parachute Regiment soldiers doing that, which kind of upset the Royal Marines.
Yeah, I bet it did, because you tend to find, like, obviously in the CP world, you get there's a mixture of everybody, but the maritime, they tend to think, well, I was a Marine, I'm better than everybody else. It's like,
and there was a lot of companies that just would take Royal Marines on.
Yeah.
But I was like, at the end of the day, everyone should be given the opportunity, because definitely. If it can work on land, it can work on sea. There's quite a lot of Royal Marines that's probably never been on a vessel before.
Yeah, yeah. It's like
everyone does their own bit. We're in that big cog. Yeah. Everyone pulls,
Well, one thing I do love, obviously, like you said, we're all one big cog, and I love the fact that you can have inter-service rivalry, inter-squadron rivalry, into whatever rivalry. But as soon as a civvy pipes up, you're like, whoa, I'll stop you there, sunshine.
And some regiments should, like the PRA and for the Parachute Regiment, obviously Marines have got that. I know I probably don't really hear about other regiments, because obviously I'm Parachute Regiment, I'm only really going to hear, but for the whole like military grant, you don't really hear many other regiments having their PRA,
no.
They're like regiment meetings, and there's so much like once you leave the regiment, like no matter what year you were in, you all meet up. It's like you're like a big band of brothers. The banders there. I could talk to someone who was in the Falklands, and it'll be amazing.
I've got to say that, yeah, definitely. I think the Marines and yourselves are the best at that. I know that my mum's husband, he was I think he was Royal Welsh. Could be wrong, but they do that. They all meet up in Cardiff, and it doesn't matter if they're fucking came out in 2013 or whatever, or 1982. They all meet up. I very rarely see anything from my regiment, but that being said, I sort of distance myself after talking about your book. When I released mine, I got a lot of hate from so-called friends. So I sort of went, right, I'm going to distance myself a little bit, because it was fucking doing murders for my mental health. Even though it wasn't particularly me reading the comments, it was my missus, and seeing her getting upset, and I was like, let's distance.
At the end of the day, I know there's probably a few people from my regiment, my battalion, who've probably slagged me off about my book. But
yeah,
at the end of the day, I've got no issues with that. If they didn't like me when I was in the battalion, so what? I'm not going to sleep on it. I've got nothing against them. At the end of the day, I've went through something which has entirely got nothing to do with me when I was in me battalion and regiment. This is me.
Yeah, it was completely separate, wasn't it?
Yeah, so I was, and my publishers were trying to focus more on military, and the guys like my agent and I was saying, you're not going to get that. So I went, right, okay, I'll put all the stuff that I want to put military-wise in my book. I'm not mentioning names, not mentioning operation names, what I was doing, but as a whole. and obviously because of what regiment I was in, it had to go down to Whitehall where someone from the special forces had to go through it, and they just went no, 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 no. So there's not much of military in.
Yeah.
Because I can't, because of the secrecy I can.
Yeah.
What regiment I was in, like, I can't disclose it. Not that I was disclosing a lot.
Yeah.
But a lot was chucked out.
Especially if you were doing those type of jobs, like.
Exactly. And I was thinking, well, I'm not writing the book because of me military, but we've got to, because of how my book is. It's like a biography kind of.
Yeah, I get you.
It's got to be a backstory of myself because of how.
Of course. You've got to set the tone, haven't you? This was my background. This is why I went in to do. Fucking hell, I just headbutted me, Mike. This is why I went into blah blah.
Yeah, but like I say, if I was to write stuff that happened in India, that was totally that was totally bullshit and lies. I've got 30 odd other people turning around and saying, "Hang on, Nick, that never happened. That never happened. That never happened." And
definitely,
I'm sorry, I don't have the best of memories, but what I've wrote in the book is me.
Yeah.
And a little bit of the others. And I thank in my book the people that I was in prison with, because if without them putting all the stuff together to give to the lawyer, we wouldn't have stood a chance from the get off. We would have just, we dropped on our asses. So at the end of the day, why should I write something about my book slagging other people off? Why?
Exactly.
Because the outside audience, they would just say, "Oh, well, he's just slagging people." And I've had that when people who are probably non-military reading about the military chapters, because I have a go at the Marines, like tongue in cheek, cabbage heads and stuff like this, because that's the banter between my regiment and the Marines. It's the lovely relationship. So to a military personnel, they could say that, but to someone who's non-military, they'll be like, "Oh, he's slagging the Marines off." And I read one comment, and he was like, "Oh, well, he's constantly going on that he's innocent, he's this, he's that," and I'm thinking, because I am innocent, man. You absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, I just want to know if people think I got a nice, lovely payout of compensation. I would love people to. I wonder if people think, well, I got a nice handout.
I think some people might have thought, hang on, he must have got something for wrongly being in prison.
People have said, "Oh, he's doing another military guy doing stuff for money." Well, I don't really mention it that often, but I'll mention it here. I'm still owed a 6-figure sum in wages from the company I worked with, which I'll never get. And guess what? The country of India offered me £10 in compensation. So to anyone who thinks I get handsomely paid in compensation, you're sadly fucking mistaken.
10 quid.
Yes, 1,000 rupees they offered us.
Fucking hell.
You know what was said to the legal team?
No.
Tell the gang, get a fucking cuppa. Go to Starbucks and get a cuppa.
10 quid. That gets you what? 2 Guinnesses these days as well.
It's way, maybe a pint and a half.
Yeah. Fucking hell. That is mental.
But like I say, I don't shy away from things. People can ask us anything.
No, that's awesome.
At the end of the day, I got on well with people, and we had disagreements with people. You're gonna get that. Well, you know, we're constantly on top of each other. We're all hurting. We're all missing our families. Everyone's got different habits, different personalities. There's 3 different countrymen.
Yeah.
You're gonna get arguments.
Yeah, of course you are. So how did it all sort of kick off? Because obviously you were out doing, was it anti-piracy you were doing?
Anti-piracy, yeah, but we'd stopped operating because we needed fuel and provisions. And we were off the coast of India due to a cyclone, which under maritime law you can seek shelter from you know, one of those nature things.
Okay. I get you. Yeah.
Earthquakes, you blah blah. But in our case, there was
like an act of God.
Act of God, yeah, that's the word. I couldn't think of it. So, because we're on a boat, maritime, and we had a vessel coming to us, there was absolutely no reason for us to inform the Coast Guard of Coogee. There's no need, because we weren't entering their port. Because what a lot of people might not realise with vessels, they have a certain certificate on what port they can and cannot go to, and what port, you know, they go to where, like, you know, your container ships.
Okay, yeah.
They berth at the most expensive part of the port, because they're on a tight schedule. So the port want to get as much money as can in such a short space. Well, at the time, we just got rudely awakened by our TDO, which is your tactical deployment officer, and he says we've been boarded at after o'clock in the morning by the Coast Guard, and we've been instructed to head towards port. And obviously, we all kind of woke up once it was getting a bit daylight. We could see the Coast Guard armed going around, were circling, and the bloke was just not speaking. He was just stood on the bridge. And I said, like, what's happened? And he, oh, we're going to port for questioning or something. And I'm like, well, something's not right. How does anyone know we're here? There's only like the agent, the people that bring with the food, fuel, and provisions. But what we didn't realize, we moved a bit closer to where the Indian crew could pick up phone signals on their phones. We had to be a little bit closer for mine to get activated, because I didn't have an international SIM card at the time. And the rumor has it, the second officer hadn't been paid on time by the company, and even though all the weapons was stored away, locked in their pelly boxes, and only 2 people on that vessel could have access to that room, the TDO and the captain, I believe, or as time went by, we all believed that the second officer has told the port authorities something which has alerted them.
Yeah, it definitely sounds like he's gone a bit lemon because he hasn't been paid. So he's gone, oh, by the way.
Or the agent is dubbed in, because when you watch the video of him talking with the police, he's laughing and joking. And I'm thinking, it's not really a laughing and joking matter.
No, that's quite a serious matter, if anything.
But he wasn't on the charge sheet anyways. But if there was a cat or dog on that vessel, that would have been on the charge sheet. Literally, they put 2 and 2 together and come up with 10. There was 35 personnel and there was 35 weapons. However, only 25 personnel could legally be used, but could use them weapons because they were the amount of securities. But in the eyes of India, every man jack, they could use a weapon. And it just escalated from there. When we got to port, it was bustling of different organisations, not just from the local area, but from as far as Mumbai. And that's when it dawned on me that I thought, there's absolutely, unless they've got a very quick private jet, there's no way they could have gotten there in that time. Or maybe they did, but why would they have been notified? It's just a short space of time is what got me. And this is when I believe, and I think we all can believe, and rightly so say it was a seizure exercise.
Yeah.
To basically use us as basically, look, we can patrol our waters, because there was the whole carry on with India being struck off the UN, basically.
Yeah. So is that? Do you think it was a bit like them flexing their muscles a little bit?
Yeah,
We don't need you in these waters. We can do
because
it
they're
ourselves.
going around murdering fishermen. They weren't even PID in actual terrorists. They were just going around saying, "Yeah, we've destroyed pirates." You know, you've just destroyed a fisherman, mate.
Yeah, you destroyed someone who's earning a living.
Exactly. And they're just reckless. And basically, the thing, because it's the Indian Ocean, we can police it. It's our ocean. They can't police shit, because if that was the case, they would have prevented the Mumbai bombings.
Yeah.
Mumbai attack, to which their media were linking us to something similar. I've got like my family ringing me when I was at Portside saying, "Look, we're reading stuff online saying you're selling weapons to fishermen and you could be doing a Mumbai style attack on a nuclear power plant." I'm like, and my dad's saying, "Is this true?"
Fucking hell.
I went, "Dad, are you joking?" He says, "Well, from what I'm reading, no, it's not a joke." I said, "You're right, it's not a joke, but that's a joke what you're reading, because
Yeah.
I'm not selling weapons to fishermen." I said, "I'm doing security, and I've got 12 Indians on this vessel. 10 of them are crew.
Yeah.
So whatever you believe, unless it comes from me or the
Yeah.
embassy, discard it."
Yeah, you got to think that it's like I've always said. There's no truth in the news, and there's no news in the truth. Like,
Exactly.
especially
Unless it comes from
that
the
is
horse's
fucking
mouth.
case in point right there.
Yeah, unless it comes from horse's mouth, don't believe it. But it was just a nightmare, an
It must have been
absolute nightmare.
squeaky bum time as well. It must have been like,
It
what the
was,
fuck?
yeah. Especially loads of different organisations, keep constant. You were never able to have a rest. You were always on guard, kind of thing, wondering who these people are, what's happening, and you're
Was it?
thinking, why is there no one from my company
Yeah, I
here?
was going to say, did the company not do anything? Was there any
Apparently,
representative from the embassy or anything like that?
we had obviously the agent, but
Yeah.
no, apparently we had some guy come from the company, but he was getting on a hot collar thinking he was going to get arrested. So apparently he jumped ship and gone. Apparently, we also heard the embassy wasn't allowed to gain access to us port side. Whether that was true or not, we did ask them, but I can't actually remember what they said. I think they said no, we hadn't, but they had been notified. But as soon as we got to port side and we realised, hang on, this isn't going to be resolved, we got in touch with the embassy straight away. We got in touch with the company straight away, and obviously we're families. We were showing all these companies the weapons and ammunition. They were basically, nah, it's all legit, it's all legit. And then the local boys, Q branch, which is the anti-terrorist unit,
Yeah.
they were looking like they'd fucked up, basically. So they were having none of it. So basically, they just turned around and went, right, we found weapons. So they've lied, found weapons. And then day 4 of day 6, they removed the weapons because they felt them being there was a threat, because they literally showed force. They had a massive four-tonner turn up, where a couple of 4-tonners with loads of armed police turn up. And we're thinking, do you honestly think there's going to be a standoff? Are you absolutely taking the mick? But obviously, but we were complying. Apart from the captain dropped his ass, we were complying. We were professional.
Yeah.
And then,
It's not like you were digging your heels in and fucking
no,
being dickheads about it.
we were complying with everything. We had nothing to hide. We showed all the weapons, but they were saying no, no, no.
Yeah, that's
And
got to
then
be
it
a
got,
big flag for like for you guys. The
yeah,
fact that you had all the documents, everything was fucking tickety boo, and then they're still going, no, that's not right. It's like, hang on, it fucking is. Something isn't
yeah.
right here.
They were saying the certificates don't count for shit outside the UK.
Oh, fucking.
But it's not just certificates from the UK,
Yeah.
you know. But day 6 came, so obviously it all started on the morning of the 12th, and on day 18 in the morning, 2 bus loads came, and they informed us we are going to hospital. However, we can't take phones, wallets. People couldn't take their wedding rings, reading glasses, cigarettes. Had to take our belts off. Obviously, we're not stupid. We knew what was happening. So the TDO literally said, right, guys, you know what's happening. Let's not kid yourself. I suggest you get on the phone to your families. Mind, this is like 7, half 7 in the morning. So 4 hours, 4.5, 3.5 hours. Sorry, 4.5 hours. It was daft o'clock.
Yeah, you'd be lucky if anyone actually answered the phone if your phone at that time.
So I knew I'm never going to get my dad up. So my first point of call was my sister. She never answered her phone. I then rang my mum. She was like a bit groggy because her tablets hadn't kicked in. So I kind of said to my mum, I went, right, mum, I'm sure you're very aware. Just want to let you know they're arresting, they're removing me from the ship. I love you. Don't worry about me. I just don't know when I'll next speak to you. And I didn't really get much from my mum, but that was the last time I've been able to speak to my mum.
Yeah.
After she suffered a double aneurysm just before Christmas in 2013, whilst I was in prison. And during that time, my sister was ringing us back. So I said, look, ma'am, I'm going to go. Our Lisa's ringing us. I went, right, Lisa, shit's hit the fan. Get the embassy. I love you, but they're arresting me. Take care. Don't worry about me.
Yeah.
And that was it.
To be fair, you got to be quick and to the point so that shit gets done. But it's got to be flap central though.
We all got on the bus.
Especially if you're trying to call, and obviously they've given you a fucking stupid time to call because they clearly know what time it's going to be in the UK.
Yeah.
So trying to get older people at that time in the morning, fucking hell.
I wouldn't have left the ship unless I spoke to someone.
Yeah,
simple as that.
Phone fucking anyone.
I wouldn't have left. Feeling that, I would have obviously left a text message or a voicemail, but managed to speak to my sister. But
yeah,
as soon as we got on the bus, it was like 2 armed police officers per person, so it was very crowded. We weren't in handcuffs. You don't know the state of their weapons.
yeah.
The rifles are all over the shop, and you're like, move that out of the way. I'm not, the way the driver's so erratic. Any bump, you think, shit, a round's going to go off here. The media were flying down. There were blues and twos on. We were like something massive. Something like this to this little village town has never happened. Yeah. These people are probably not even hardly seen white people. That's
yeah.
And it just was manic. We never went to the hospital, went straight to the police station. That was manic. We got a bottle of water, no food, nothing, no one from the company, no translation. Mind, one of the Indian crew was from Tamil and could speak English. So he not only was getting grilled, so we had to delegate someone who could speak English and Ukraine, Estonian English, and obviously us.
Fucking hell, yeah.
He would then translate from Tamil to English. Then they would then go, and it was a long process. But that's what happens when you're abroad.
Yeah.
Not everyone speaks English.
No, of course not.
Us Westerners need to get out of our little heads and think. Even though English is the worldwide language in business.
In business, yeah, we are very arrogant with it.
We are very arrogant. They might not be able to really speak English, but they can frigging understand it.
Yeah.
That's why I'm saying if people are going to be like racially abusive to foreign people, you best not, because they can't understand and they're not stupid. Yeah. But honestly, these people were absolutely lunatics. Sign right. I was like, I'm not signing nothing. It's a blank piece of paper. No.
They gave you a blank piece of paper. Jesus Christ.
You've got the details for my passport. Like, if you were to take our charge sheet with all of our names and give it to a UK court, it wouldn't even begin. This is how stupid they were. The police couldn't even write your names from your passport to a piece of paper correctly. And you think, oh, what about the Estonians and Ukrainian passports?
Yeah, they got crazy letters as well.
It's in English. You can read it in English. You know, it's just like it's just mental. Like our original passport, it was English and French one.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
But it was just absolutely ridiculous. And we finally got back on a bus. It was dark. We went to the first prison, Palamcourty. Got there, I think, about 11, half 11 at night. Mosquitoes are doing the rounds. And when you looked at this prison, you were thinking you're entering the gates of hell. This prison was built under British rule.
Beautiful.
So when they realised 6 out of the 35 people were turned up were British, they were like, whoa, she was on the other foot, because the state of Tamil Nadu is so anti-British, from even Indians telling me, because that part of India cannot grasp that we used to rule India, and that part of India is disliked by the northern parts. They're a very disliked state. Well,
we were going through the gates of hell. That's where we was.
So going into this prison, it was just like, wow. You're thinking, what on earth is going on? Going to prison should be daunting regardless. But going to a proper prison. Like, I know the UK's got some tough prisons, but they're not tough enough. Because
from the pictures that I've seen that you sent, that sort of makes the prisons in Britain look like a holiday home.
Yeah. There was bad people in that prison, but what I'm trying to say is, you take one of our bad criminals and you put them in a prison that I was in, they'll be crying for mum.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I'm Mr. Tough Guy myself, but I was. I cried for my mum.
Yeah, I bet.
I just rolled down my eyes. But you've got to stay strong, not just for yourself, but for your family. When the embassy comes in to see you, you've got to not show weakness, because you want to show to the embassy that you're okay, you're fair enough. So it is a bit of a relief for your family back home.
Yeah, of course.
They're going to be like having kittens anyways. They don't, as long as they know I'm okay, that's all I'm bothered about. I'll use my military training to, when the shit hits the fan, to deal with it the best I can. And even that sometimes wasn't enough. You had to go to the next level and beyond, because that's how it was. It's not the military where you have to be physically robust and a bit mentally. This was just pure mental.
It's got to be, and that's crazy that you're dealing with what you were dealing with, which we'll go into more detail. But also that little niggling thought in your head to say, I've got to still remain the strong person here, so that my family can see that I'm okay, so that they're not panicking too much. That's a crazy mindset to put yourself into.
So we're in that prison for a couple of days, and then the 23 foreigners. So the 12 Indians remained at that prison. To this day, I don't know why. And then the 23 foreigners were shipped up to Chennai, to the remand prison where and we were put in the foreigners compound. So we came across different foreign criminals like Nigerians, Sri Lankan terrorists, a couple of Syrian meth dealers, dodgy people with this wood, and if you have so much money on you over there, they think you're a criminal, because it's all money. So if some guy, he had $50,000 on him, and they were like, off you go in prison. And then his deal was, we want half, kind of thing. And he was like, he was being stubborn. And it was like, so basically he was there for a couple of days and he left. So basically his lawyer's gone, stop being an idiot. Half of your 50 grand, jump on a plane, going in with 25 grand. Yeah. Still got 25 grand in it. Exactly. So it was something like that. But it was mental. Like when they were reading the newspaper and we went into the prison up in Chennai, we had people going, "Oh, can you get weapons and stuff like that?" Because that's what they were saying about. Well, yeah, they must have thought you were the fucking Lord of War. Yeah, and we're like, don't be daft, man. Don't be daft. Like, we're security, doing the piracy. All right. So we're in this prison. It was tough. We were like barely able to hardly eat. We had to cook by ourselves. We're not chefs, so it was horrible. The heat, the conditions, living on the floor till we were able to get these thin little mattresses with the help of the embassy. We all got ill, like the point we used the outside toilets for during the day and then used the hole in the floor toilet once we woke up at 6 o'clock. So we were able to walk around the prison and the compound between 6:30 and 6:30 at night. But you were just like, so we just were going day to day, waiting for the embassy to say so we could get letters sent to them, letters from home as well, because we weren't too familiar with the postage, and I tried it, and my letter was sat in the jailer's desks for about 4 weeks. So I grabbed that and I gave it to the embassy when they came in. We all got ill. I believe we probably got dysentery, we did get dysentery, but I think it was probably down to stress, heat, being shit cooks. You know what I mean? I think we probably just gave food poison. But I've never seen it go through so many guys in rapido fashion. Like, I remember I was lying in my cell and I was like, oh, I need to go to the toilet. And I was walking across the courtyard and I just kind of just threw up. And then I shit myself at the same time. And I was kind of laughing and crying at the same time, wanting me. Yeah, I could sort of see where you're coming from with that, because we're going to die here. We're going to die. You can't help but laugh at that sort of situation. Yeah, exactly. That's like probably a bit of military humour. Yeah, you get rat incident. Rats over there were massive, man. Like, snuck in my cell at night, but being military, we're in the face of adversity, we're trying to laugh things off. So we had from the prison shop this cake which was individually sliced. So they said to me, we want to see how many slices you could get in your mouth without swallowing. I think I got probably 3/4 of the way through, and then someone made us laugh and I just spurted cake out. But yeah, because you could never have a solid shake. It was always liquid with just the heat, the food and all. Yeah. So we're kind of so you put the tap on just to try and mask it, but then it couldn't. So we were acting like little kids, listening to squelchy fucking shit and all that. And so that kind of lifts your spirits a bit. But you got to find some sort of morale in any situation. Otherwise, like you said, you're gonna just go on a. You're just going to, and we're doing that anyways. It was difficult. It was. It must have been. To think of your family. It was just so hard not to. You don't know when you're next going to see them. or anything like that. And then, like, just before Christmas, the embassy came in. I was getting a bit worried because I hadn't heard from my family. And I remember one of the other guys, he got told to stay behind by the embassy. And then obviously later on, he then got a visit. So that was quite good for him.
Yeah,
it was good to get messages and probably whatever sent from my family to via them, which was a good help. That's what we did with the families, which is what you would do anyways, wouldn't you? Get in touch with the other. We're all in it together. Might as well try and be a bit friendly with everyone. You know, it's no one's fault that we're in this mess. Not everyone could get on with each other. That's part and parcel of life, unfortunately. You know, tell me people who get on with each other all the time.
Yeah,
it's nothing.
That must have been heightened as well.
Exactly, yes. And I got told the same. Oh, can you stay behind? So I'm like a fucking Cheshire cat, aren't I? I'm buzzing, thinking, oh, someone from my family's come to see us before Christmas. And the embassy, I've never seen her face be such a killjoy, and I knew something was up. And she gave us this letter, and to this day I don't even know what the whole letter said. It was just my sister basically telling us not to worry constantly. She's all right, she's all right. And it was, I remember waiting to go, and my mum, well, she always was complaining about migraines and stuff like that, and women are more prone to migraines than men, so they always complain they've got a bad head, normally because we're giving them a bad head. But I never put two and two together. And then obviously in the letter, my sisters told us my mum suffered a double aneurysm while at the hairdressers, and they've had to do emergency brain surgery, which she was given 50-50. Basically, I think she was probably given less than 50% to live. It was, if you don't operate, she dies. If we do operate, she still might die, but there's a chance she may survive.
Yeah.
So obviously the family's gone, operate.
Yeah.
And then I'm in a prison for a crime I don't even know what. And I'm having the embassy try and tell me, my mum, and I'm like, I've gone into, if my mum dies and I'm in prison, that this can't, seriously, I'm going to unleash hell. There'll be no point in me existing. I will take out everyone. And obviously the tears come, and that's when the red mist starts coming down, and I'm trying to push this red mist away. So I say my goodbyes, and from where the jailer's office is to where our compound, it was close to nearly a mile away. It was a massive prison. And I'm walking out in tunnel vision, you know, shuffling my feet, because obviously I wasn't rushing to get back. I'm getting pelted with stones. I'm getting racially abused. I can gather the way they were shouting at us, the other Indian prisoners. But the pain I was going through, them stones didn't even make it.
Yeah, of course not. No, I'm not going to feel another pain like it.
I was trying to like think of what the hell's going on. My mum's in hospital, she's dying. I'm in a prison halfway across the world. What the fuck do I do? So I managed to get back to the compound without losing my shit. And one of the guys came over, and I just broke down, and he took us away. And I said, look, I can't do this. Fuck this. I can't do this. If my man dies, that my life's over. They'll not even let me go to the fucking funeral if that's the case, because they'll be scared in case I don't come back. To which I said to the embassy, if my man dies, I want official documents signed to where I will come back to India after the funeral. I was prepared for that.
Yeah.
And the embassy was saying, do not think like that, because you will not go home. They didn't word it in that context.
Yeah, they would sort of
They
preparing
were
you
more
for
or less-
yeah.
They were more or less getting me to realise you'd not be going for the funeral.
Yeah.
Simple as that. They didn't physically say, well, because fortunately and thankfully, that never came to happen. And I was just broken. We're all broken, but like I'm just devastated. I just didn't know what to do. But it was either sit, worry, or crack on, and stiffen me up our lip, and not let my not let the negativity that's happening back home rub off onto me, because the problem with negativity in this situation, it spreads like fucking wildfire.
Oh, of course, yeah.
One person's down in the dumps,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then you're all down in the dumps. And we're in a position where if we are all down in the dumps, fights amongst ourselves can happen because emotions are flaring up. And it makes your days feel like weeks and your weeks feel like months. And that was happening anyways. But my sister came out in March for my birthday to see us, which was great. It lifted my spirits, lifted everyone's a bit. We managed to get bail in April 2014. So obviously from prison, October the 18th to April 2014, we managed to get bail where we had to sign at the local police station twice a day. Under strict bail conditions, because those scaring case were bloody done with. I'm thinking, how the hell am I going to get out of this country?
Yeah.
And then July 2014, that was it. Case quashed. I've got no charges, free to go home. But under their law, you've got a 90-day rule. And I'm thinking, so we've got to wait another 3 months. So we had this meeting at the embassy where people came down from New Delhi, and we had our lawyers to look into Indian law. And two different Indian lawyers stated the same Indian law. During the 90-day rule, there's no requirement for us, especially with no charges, to remain in India. But the reason why the British government didn't pursue that, and that's the time where I will say the government failed us.
Yeah, yeah.
Because they turned around and went, we don't believe they'll appeal. I said, you're not dealing with these people. We are.
Yeah.
You haven't got a clue. They do not care. And day 88 come, we're getting a bit excited. Families at home are no doubt getting a bit excited. They end up putting paperwork saying the weapons are illegal and that we're in territorial waters. Up to Supreme Court. Well, coming from a police organisation, I think in their country, they more or less just entertain it anyways.
Yeah.
In the UK, they'll probably go, on what grounds?
Yeah.
And then it went to trial. So nearly over a year and a bit, with no charges, pending trial. Obviously, when you go to a trial, you have to recharge it. So we had to sign no charges. I didn't want to, but the show couldn't start. So it was quite frustrating trying to get everyone to sign, because people were just saying, no, I'm not signing, I've done no. I'm not putting no charges. But I think once people realised, though,
yeah, you just got to get that ball rolling.
Yeah, we can't progress unless everyone signs, basically. So the trial starts in September 2015. During that time in India, I met a lovely lady who helped so much for my family when I was in prison. We formed a relationship. Obviously, we're not together anymore. But she'll always remain in my heart for what she
of
done.
course, yeah.
Same with my family. She was amazing, and you know, I'm glad she was there helping. So the trial started. I had to go from Chennai down to the Korean for the trial because I was back in the Lion's Den, the courts that the police run. So I was thinking,
you're thinking the worst straight away.
Well, not so much, because I'm thinking we've got to not have that attitude.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, but
you're accepting defeat. So we took it on that we're gonna win. Give them with confidence. They don't have a leg to stand on. So the courtroom, there's got the front and centre, and his benches is the judge. Down the right side, as you're looking at it from the back, are lawyers, embassy, prosecution, everything, and we're all at the back, stood up by this bench. It was hot, horrible, and basically, like I was saying to you earlier, like I had to have a word with my legal team saying, look, I'm not coming back here unless the judge physically asks for me to be at that court. I am not turning up. I'm not listening to lies.
Yeah.
It's sickening. It made the pits of my stomach ill. When I hear the collector of evidence stand on the stand and turn around to our legal team saying, if I'd seen the ballistics expert's report, I will not have put the charges on the men. However, it doesn't matter because they took his original statement anyways. So that was just a waste of time. But it made me think, we're fucked. But you still have to have that little glimmer of hope. So it got to like Christmas recess of the trial. The next point was Judgment Day, the decision day, which was the 11th of January. The lawyer said, we've done everything. Like, well, it got to the point where we had the map, they had the map, and we were saying, show us on the map where that vessel was. People have asked me this. Did you ever say you weren't in international? Did you ever say you were not in national waters? I said no, because we were in territorial waters.
Yeah.
Because in the maritime code, due to acts of God, you can seek shelter in a neighbouring country. We never once stated that we just said, well, you prove to us where we were. Yeah. We're not saying, we didn't say nothing. You got to prove, and they couldn't even do that. So who told them where we were?
Yeah.
Because the original statements and all that, their radars weren't working. So who told us where?
So if radars weren't working or anything like that, so someone must have gone, we are at coordinates.
Yes.
Blah, 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 blah.
That's when it opened your eyes even more to think we've been sold down the river.
Yeah.
And corruption at its finest. We were being made an example of. Simple as that. Shit.
Disgusting, really.
It was just hideous. It was just horrible. Like, what can you do? Yeah. Like a holiday where you kind of get in, and you're not getting paid.
So it's a hell of a holiday.
So my family is paying for things, but no help, no financial help from the British government.
I was going to say
nothing from the government, the company I work for. I had to live on handouts from military charities. My family
did many. Yeah, I was going to ask. Did it? So obviously, like you just said, there was nothing from the government or anything like that. So
I always
the support from the veteran community.
Oh yes, tremendous. I always say, if it wasn't for people's support, I wouldn't be here today mentally.
Yeah.
They got us through it. Just my sister used to go on social media to just help update people on, and the comments that people used to leave was, I said to my sister, I want to see these comments, because she was telling us about them. So she used to print them off and send them in letters. And I would just read people's lovely comments. And I was having people write to me from around the world, from America, Canada.
That must have given you a hell of a morale boost.
And it was such a morale booster, really. But you need more. You need to be reunited with your family. And
it's all well and good. You getting the letters and whatnot. That will last a couple of days, couple of weeks but considering you're in there for something that you didn't even do wrong.
Exactly.
You had to get out.
So we've got this recess. Obviously, with my previous partner, we'll celebrate Christmas and New Year. Obviously, not too overly over the top. Just meal, a few drinks. Hopefully, thinking this is the last Christmas in this country. And then it daunted. It was time to rumble. The media are ringing us off the bounce. I'm like, I'm not even at court yet, man. Hurry.
Yeah.
If anything gets said, it'll come from my sister. Court was just ridiculous. And then I was stood next to one of the Estonians, and in the corner of my eye, I saw loads of police go down the side of the court. And I said to one of the lads, I went, this doesn't look good. He goes, what do you mean? I said, why is all these coppers stood outside? Are they expecting something to happen? And I keep saying this, but it's true. I've seen some scared people's faces, but when the lawyer came up to speak to us, because the judge's little minion stood up and waffled something, and Madame Cuban didn't know how quick to move in her flip-flops, and we looked straight away, because she didn't sneak out, she kind of bustled out, and we're thinking, I go on, fucking run.
She's getting the fuck out of Dodge.
She's getting out of Dodge because she knows what's just been said. One of our embassy was straight on the blower, and we're like to the lawyer, come on, what's he been saying? And I've never seen a bloke. He was shit scared, come towards us. And he goes, 5 years. And we were like, what? What do you mean 5 years? He says, it was either going to be 5 or 7 years, and they've gave you a 5-year sentence for weapons. And we're like, what? Are you taking the piss? And you just kind of just stood there and you're just like, am I hearing this correct?
Did you just say 5 years? I'm not in on this joke. Can you?
Then, obviously, we're all, the court ends kind of, and everyone's like bustling. What the fuck's going on with the embassy? The Estonians dealing with theirs and ours, and they're like, well, my belongings is at this hotel. My belongings are in Chennai. What the fuck? So she says, right, what I suggest you do, ring your families. And I'm thinking, how the fuck do I do this, man?
Yeah, how do you then phone your families and say 5 years?
So I ring me ex-partner, I say, look, it's not gone well. She's bubbling doing the phone. I said, look, I'm going away for 5 years. Do me one amazing favour and get on with your life. Please don't wait for me. It's not fair. Can you go to my hotel, my hostel, pack my belongings up and drop it off at the embassy, please? She went, right, okay, no problem. I'll do that. I then rung my dad. I said, right, Dad, Are you sat down? He goes, aye. What's going on? I went, it's not good. It's the weapons. He says, the weapons are fine now. I said, Dad, I know, but this is India.
Yeah.
They make the rules. He says, so what then? 5 years. He goes, you're fucking joking, aren't you? I went, no. He goes, but the weapons are fine now. I said, aye, I know, Dad.
Yeah.
Nah, I'm trying not to get emotional. But he's just heard his son say he's going to prison for 5 years. And he's not really an emotional guy, and he's trying to, he's trying he's trying to disbelieve it. He's trying to, but the weapons are fine. I said, Dad, I know they are, but it counts for shit here. Yeah. We had the best lawyers money could buy. And that's why I keep saying thank you to the amazing people, because you paid for my legal team. Yeah. You's donated. Every pound someone donated went to our legal team, because we were on our arse.
I bet.
So I then said to my dad, I rung my sister. I went, Lisa, right, I suggest you get the mams immediately. It's not good. She went, what do you mean it's not good? I said, I'll tell you. Get the mams, text us when you're there, and I'll ring back. So my sister went to our mams with her, my mum's friend, and she did the phone call. She says, right, Nick, you're on loudspeaker. I went, right, Mum, are you there? And obviously my mum can't speak properly due to her aneurysm, so she kind of speaks certain words, and so the majority of the time it's gobbledygook, but she can understand you. I said, that sentence were to 5 years, and I tell you what, you'd think my mum was a wounded animal. She just burst out howling. I shit you not, it was the most horrible thing I've ever witnessed in my life. The rage that was coursing through my veins, and that red box of that red mist, anger, evil was trying to take over, and I was like, no, because things will go tits up. I wanted to strangle that judge's throat till no air was going in his lungs.
Obviously, letting the anger take over, that could have been even more detrimental. Yeah, definitely. It would have
been detrimental, and I think that's why the police were stood there, because they were probably because these Estonians I was with would be chucking people around.
Yeah, they were big bastards.
They were big bastards. I would have gone to hell. I would have just wrapped rifles around their necks. I would have not cared for my life. Yeah. I would have took as many of them out as possible. But you've got to be professional. You take it on the chin. Yes, there was a few shouts. Obviously, the Estonians and the Russians and Ukrainians chucking it in their lingo. We were just kind of thinking, fuck. Obviously, there was media there for us, and they caught us when we were getting on the bus to go back to prison. Because they weren't too sure if they were going to put us back in the local Nick or fish were back up to Chennai, but we made a long bus journey back to Chennai, and had to wait to get a new bus because the tyre burst. I'm thinking, and we will keep telling them to slow down as well. Imagine if that tyre burst and went up into a ditch, man.
Yeah.
Fucking unbelievable. Just cry. I was just nerve-wracking. So obviously, we'll all few have a piece at the media, and you see me pleading with David Cameron, the then Prime Minister, say, this is now on you, bring us home, or words to that effect. And then that was us, back to Hotel California, but the actual prison next door to the remand one. And the time we got there, it was daylight, and the previous one we got there at night, so we travelled through the night, and it was quite horrible, because there you go, your Indians falling asleep with the weapons, and you've just got your lack of food, water, my head's stopping. All I could think of was my family. I couldn't give a fuck about me. I'll worry about me later. All I could care was, you'd think I'd just put a gun to my mum and dad's head and pull the trigger for the news I just gave them.
Yeah, it must have been heartbreaking for you and well, for the family as well.
It was horrible for all of us. You know, people got kids and all that. I'm grateful I don't have kids. That would have just added more pain and worry onto me. So back to prison, now a 5-year sentence. And it was hard because we've been in prison. We didn't think we were going to be going back. So you've got to go through the whole rigmarole. Yes, this was a total different prison, but we had to fight for stuff. I don't give a fuck what people say. You've got to make friends in prison, but you keep them at arm's length.
Oh, yeah.
What works in the UK prisons, it works in every prison.
Yeah, you got to make your friends. You got to make the cliques, haven't you? But
exactly.
also, you got to remember that they are prisoners as well. So if they need to stab you in the back, then they will.
If you wanted a lighter, you got to pay for it. I think the going rate was like 4 packs of biddies, 5 packs of biddies for a lighter. I didn't touch any of the drugs. Did I use a mobile phone when one of the lads got one? Absolutely. But I used it sparingly, and I used it if there was new information to tell. But I could not dare speak to my mum because she would just hound my sister. I literally has to after because my sister's number was the only number I could remember off the top of your head.
Yeah.
So when I had the chance to use that phone, I would say, right, Lisa, this is the new news, blah, blah, blah. If you hear anything similar or added bits, discredit that. What is the truth comes from my mouth. Yeah. Because we got told by the lads who went and spoke with a lawyer, and they went, I'm not going to add my twist on it. This is what she said. You're hearing exactly from me. So there's fucking putting your spin on this, putting your spin on that, putting your spin. Everyone does that.
Yeah, definitely.
We're all pivoting, but I made it fucking crystal clear. Tell me so I can tell my family and my family knows. So if they hear anything different, they can say, well, I'm sorry. There you go. Because that was happening in the camp. There was a few family members thinking fucking one thing, and we're like, hang on a minute. At one point, right in the early days, I think, it was again, I don't know who it was, but apparently all the families were saying the weapons aren't licensed, and I'm having my family in letter say the weapons aren't so they were flapping like fucking the UK.
Yeah, I bet.
And I'm like, hang on a minute. And then you start questioning, and they're like, no, the weapons are fucking legal, Nick. I said, good. So, right, just to let you know, the weapons are legitimate. So take it. And then that calmed the camp down a bit on the family side. But like we were saying, look, if you've got any information, share it. Don't be fucking keeping any information to yourself. We're in this together. But you get people like that. Like it's some sort of, any information that I got, I gave to fucking everyone. I said, look, if you've heard something different, let us know. And then we can meet in the middle, which information's the more truer.
Yep.
Because everyone puts a little spin on it.
Makes sense.
That happens, man. That happens. That's just fucking life in general. It was difficult learning the whole prison, but like I say, when you're mentally able to do things, you get yourself into a routine, and that's when I keep referring me military. And people who are non-military will go, oh well, I mean, fuck off, mate. If you were non-military, you go in that corner, cry for fucking mammy, and not function. Military, we have that realization, and then we'll go, right, fucking here we go. I need to sort my shit out. That is the military. When the shit hits the fan.
Yeah, you take your condor moment and boots on, crack on.
Yeah, exactly. And no matter which way you looked at it, we're in this together. you don't have to fucking like every fucking person, but I'm not going to get out till you get out.
Yeah, exactly.
So let's try and work together as hard as it fucking is. And yes, there was little factions breaking up and people squabbling and arguing. That's fucking life. We're all hurting together. We're all hurting and we're all lash out. I fucking kicked off in the hospital and got put into lockdown. So I was flavour of the fucking for about 3 months. I was man most hated.
Yeah.
But people couldn't leave the compound because of me, because I lost my shit and had a massive scrap in the hospital. But I apologised. I said, sorry, lads, but I lost my head. I'm sorry. But we're all fucking feeling.
We're back once again. Fucking Zoom.
Mental.
So you were saying just before it cut off again. Fucking Zoom. But obviously you had a moment where you got into a bit of a scrap in was it in hospital? Was that like a regular occurrence, like the violent side?
No, definitely not. And we saw some other things during the 2 times when we were in prison, like times where we were getting bricks and stones thrown out to the point where we had to have prison guards escorted to the kitchen. There was times where I saw an Indian prisoner with his throat slit, claret going everywhere, screaming and shouting. The guards couldn't care. There was a body on the gurney with a sheet wheeled down, just parked by the main entrance. As you come out of the jailer's office, there was the time where it was a big something to do with drugs, and they got the culprits involved, and they use latte sticks over there, and it's how they do them. They hit on there, and then they down, and then basically they hit the soles of your feet so you can't run away. And I remember the first time my sister came to visit us, on her final visit, as she was leaving, I saw these prisoners getting hit with a latte stick, and I was saying to myself, don't look. And I stupidly said to my sister, I went, oh, don't look. Well, that's the big hint, isn't it? She looked, didn't she? So all she saw was...
Yeah, as she's leaving.
So then she was probably thinking, is that happening to my brother? And obviously I had to reassure her, saying that no, it didn't. By minutes, but it's obviously...
It must have been quite worrying for you, like, not knowing if like the guards were going to do anything or if the prisoners were going to do it.
It would be the last thing they did.
Yeah.
Because we were showing that we're not bad people. And when the superintendent, we showed her before she went on maternity leave. Well, leave to go and give birth because she was pregnant. And we showed her the copies of the weapon certificates, right? And she was a trained lawyer. And she looked at them and she went, why are you in my prison? We said, I wish we knew that ourselves.
Yeah, so, I wish we could give you that answer.
Yeah, it was difficult because the language barrier, wait, and it's like, but you learn, and I learned, if you scream at these, they're just like an ostrich, just put their head in the sand and wait till you stop screaming. If you talk to them like a human, more like of a child human, because you got to slow your accent down. Yeah, because English isn't their main language. So they can speak English to a certain degree, some of the jailers and
that's been difficult for you with a northeast accent as well.
Well, we're working abroad. I just took my accent off. Like,
fair enough.
I took my accent off because when you're dealing with foreign nationals, when you're working abroad, you need to take your accent off and speak just the Queen's English to a degree without the twang. And monotone, slow, the good old clasp, but without being saying it as an order. So you realise we're not going to get anything done shouting.
Mm.
So it's like help me, help you kind of thing for the prison authority. They don't want us there as much as we want to be there. So you kind of build a rapport with them, and they do, like, we used to get like tuna sent in because we said, oh, with fish oils it's good for our bodies. My friend used to send me parcels, and you know the packs that look like cat food.
Yep.
They just chuck in a sandwich and
like you're getting a ration pack.
Yeah, like that. Basically, if there was more than 5, what he would do is you say, and take 2 off you. You get 3, so and you're like, at first you're like using your shit, but then you start to realize how they think. They're like doing you a favor by letting you have some, but showing that you're not allowed to have it, really. And it's a goodwill gesture by the director of prisons and the meeting with the embassy to allow us to have it.
Yeah.
You then start and think, I see where you're coming from. You know what I mean? So you kind of, it's annoying because when I left prison, I got loads of tuna and all that back, and I was thinking,
oh, cheers.
the embassy went, oh, by the way, this is yours, Nick. I went, oh, I thought they would have just ate it or binned it. I wasn't expecting it. But I was thinking, oh, yes, I'm eating it. So it wasn't that bad of stuff. But like I say, there was the good times, the bad times, the times where you...
Was there any times that you were starting to lose a bit of hope, even though you knew there was a 5-year sentence, that you thought, fucking, they're just going to add more days on?
I admitted to myself, if I have in my mindset, I'm going to do the 5 years, anything beforehand's a bonus.
Yeah.
I did start and feel down in the dumps when we were waiting a year for results to the appeal hearing. And you're thinking, well, they've just dragged a year out. What if they drag another year out?
Yeah, got you.
We're getting close to 5 years. That's nearly going to be 7.5 years in total if we get out after 5 years. So that's when I was like begging with my sister, look, you've got to bring my dad out. Because my birthday's in March, and when we got released was in the end of November. So I needed that.
You need a boost.
Lift. So
yeah, definitely.
She bring me dad out, and it was just an amazing feeling. But as the months went by, you start and just, because you're hearing nothing back, and the government was like, we don't want to rock the boat. I'm thinking, I don't give a fuck, man. You rock that boat.
Yeah, you're not fucking in here.
We're innocent. Starting to make noise now. Yeah, we've been convicted. You can make noise.
Yeah. Stop pussyfooting around and get me out of this place.
Exactly. But, you know, it was what it was. And no matter how much I look back at it, yes, there was certain things I wish when, you know, that's hindsight, it's a wonderful thing. But even if we did and knew some of the stuff that we knew, you know what? Hand on my heart, it probably wouldn't have made a fucking difference.
Yeah, it seems like it was all aligned for them to try and make a point.
Look, when my sister rung Amnesty International and she was saying about my welfare and saying it's a breach of my human rights and this, that, and the other, they asked my sister which country I was held in, and she said India, and they went, nah, sorry, didn't touch them. And she went, what? But you're the international human rights. Nah, not interested. And that's Amnesty International. So that goes to show. So when you hear Westerners on the news crying about their human rights abroad, and you hear Amnesty International are involved, I'm thinking, no, they're not.
Yeah.
They're not involved at all.
Nah.
They're just putting their name out to make them look like they are involved. They're not, because they weren't involved for me.
Yeah.
Why it all happened when, you know, India and the UK are, as in the words of David Cameron said, a blossoming relationship.
Sounds like it.
Why is it actually happening? Yeah, well, whether we were some sort of a political pawn to help leverage a better deal for the trades, who knows?
Yeah.
I guarantee you it probably was mentioned. Any time there was mentioning that British delegates would be getting together, we were there, front and centre.
Yeah.
And I said, I didn't want to be the end where the conversation's done and dusted and it's like, oh, farewell.
Yeah, like an afterthought. Oh, don't forget we've got these guys in.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, no problem. I want this to be mentioned as soon as you walk in. Fuck your trade deals. These are innocent men's lives here you're playing with.
Yeah, fucking taking the piss.
Done in an instant. Getting these men home to their families is a priority. And that's when my sister said, you've had 50 meetings, prime minister to prime minister on many occasions. And yet, I'm sorry, talking is not good enough. We want to see action, because actions speak louder than words.
Fucking right, it does.
It was just agonizing, hurtful, but I never gave up hope.
Yeah.
I might have lost my way mentally a bit, feeling down in the dumps. That's natural, but I always knew I would one day be reunited with my family. And when it came to like the time where we got told for the decision, we were like, it's on like Donkey Kong here. And I was thinking, if they reject, we go up to Supreme Court. The Supreme Court, Grand of all India, Chief Justice himself has literally said, I want a decision within 2 weeks. That's basically indirectly saying, get these out now, but do it in the legal way.
Yeah.
Because if you don't finish the court proceedings and we just get them out of the country, that'll look like India has done something wrong.
Yeah, that looks very, very suspicious.
Look bad to India, because the thing about India, they do bad anyways, because they do not care what the world thinks of them. No. They're not interested. They're just like the Chinese. They do not care. They're like, yeah, and so what? We're India. We can do what we want. You know, because they think they're the biggest democracy and they think they're a massive superpower. Talk about putting wood in tin. That's India down to. But I met some great people out there.
Yeah.
Not all Indians are bad. If I thought all Indians were bad, my previous partner wouldn't have been Indian. Yeah. So they are lovely people as well. When I refer to Indian, I'm on about their judicial system.
Yeah.
Police, their corruption of their governments. That's what I'm mainly meaning, not necessarily their people. But at the end of the day, like, the court date was on a Monday. We knew we weren't going to be the first heard, not a chance. And I remember on the Sunday evening, the Chennai radio was playing rock ballads. And I've always liked this song anyways, but the song means so much more to me now because it has a meaning, it's got a place, not just as an 80s classic, but it's a song which was the beginning of the journey home. And that song's called The Final Countdown by Europe. And that came on the radio. And I stood up and I went, that's it. It's over tomorrow. It's over. And you can understand a few guys going, oh, we'll see. A bit apprehensive. Right.
No.
Maybe that was a front that I was putting up. But I tell you what, my spirits were lifted. None of us really slept that night because we knew the next morning the races were on. So I thought to myself, I'm not going to sit around, having me head like a spin dryer.
Yeah.
Headless chicken. I try to make my day like a productive day. If I get told the news, I get told the news. I take it on the chin, whatever it is. And I was outside having a workout in my Flintstone gym. Yeah, the pictures are mine. I got my sister to send us a spy pen, and so I took pictures of my gym and stuff like that, and just to give people a bit of an insight. Because I knew the media did use a few prisons of India, but as pictures, but some of them like weren't mine. The outside of the
I got you. Yeah.
Were. So I did get questioned by a few people. Are they legitimate? I'm thinking, I mean, so obviously I released them pictures when my book came out. So for those who don't really have a mind where you can imagine things, you can read what I say in my book to then look at my pictures and really think, wow, you know,
it's not nice.
No, it's not. And it was around tea time, and I was training, and one of the lads was shouting at it at the barred window. And you know when someone's full of emotions where you don't know if they're going to laugh or cry at the same time, and they're trying to speak.
Yeah.
Basically, he was like, Dunny, Dunny, Dunny. I was like, what? He goes, that's it. Full acquittal. It's over. It's over. And I was buzzing. I was like, see, I told you. You know, you got to have confidence, but deep down, if it was the worst decision, then it'll go to Supreme Court and I just won't be going for Christmas. Bye. And then that was it. You can imagine that whole night, no one slept again.
Yeah, the relief must have been.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. Like the feeling of sorrow, pain, and suffering amongst the men was just lifted off their shoulders. Finally, something progression, some progression of some sort. We're getting the victory. Right, when do we get out of this prison? And we were out of that prison the next door before the paperwork turned up. Because
they just wanted to get you out of there.
The judge turned around and said, get them out of that prison now, regardless of whether the paperwork turned up. So I'm around the compound, walking around, do a training set, walk around. So as I'm walking around, I catch one of the lads. I said, where are you off to? Oh, I've been summoned by the superintendent. I went, all right, okay. So doing the same. And I come round again and he comes walking in. I went, what's the crack? He goes, embassy's coming at 11 o'clock. Get your shit ready. And he just carried on. And I abruptly stopped. And I felt ill. My legs started wobbling. Honestly, you'd think someone had just hoofed us in the stomach. I was winded. I was thinking, what the fuck is he? What? And I kind of went round and I thought, and I was starting to shake, thinking, so I went to the cell and everyone's bustling around fucking like blue arse flies and heedless chickens, and I'm not fucking rushing because I know what it'll be. You'll be wait, and fuck this. So I just calm down, cool down.
One of those hurry up and waits.
Yeah, hurry up and wait. Yeah, I'm so West. I spent my time in the army doing that.
Yeah.
In India doing the same fucking thing as well. So I wasn't waiting, and you could see the cheer, the joy in people's faces, and people coming up with kissing my head. Just you could see the tears in their eyes, man. It was beautiful. Yeah. And I was just thinking, what the fuck? And I showed you the video. That's when my family physically get the text of it's been acquitted.
Yeah. That was such a beautiful moment from
Yeah,
coming from such a fucking
a family.
Yeah, coming from such a horrible situation that you were put in, but that moment where they say that you're coming home, and it's it fucking got to me, and I didn't even know you then.
Yeah,
I was watching it going, Jesus.
Same with me coming home as well. Like, I didn't realize that was on Facebook Live. People were telling us,
Yeah,
it was unbelievable. But like I say, that's for another day. But seeing the embassy, the foreign delegates of the prison come, the superintendent come, because I said, I bet she comes when, even though she's on leave, I bet she comes to say Tadaro. She did, because she understood we shouldn't have been there.
yeah.
You had the High Commissioner from Delhi, the Deputy High Commissioner there, and it was just amazing to like leave that to get in an air-conned vehicle and just go, that part's over, but it's not over till I'm touched down in Newcastle Airport.
Yeah.
And then we got to the embassy, and like I say, I rung my sister, and with a connection, didn't think she realised because it would have came up unknown number. I said, Lisa, it's me. I'm out. And she went, obviously she was cheering, screaming me.
Yeah.
And she said, don't worry, I'm literally on the way to the airport. I'm coming to get you. And she was on the way to the airport, and I thought I stayed in Slum, so the mission to seafarers put me up in the Radisson Blue, which was near the visa place, which was near the embassy. So I didn't have to do much traveling, so I wanted to be there. And my partner, she came to visit us and stay. And then the next morning, my sister, I got a phone call from the reception. Oh, by the way, Mr. Dunn, your sister is here. So I come down in my dressing gown. The media was there, and my sister is there. My hair's down here. I look like a bag. But it was just an amazing feeling. Like, she didn't have to come out, but she wanted to make sure that I got
she
on
wanted
that.
to make sure you were,
But going through the whole days of sorting up paperwork, they were dragging it out. Guys were getting pissed off, understandable. I just thought, well, I'm here with my sister, here with my partner at the time. Just let the days go by, trying to bulk up a bit because, I needed to eat some decent food, which was going in one.
Yeah, I bet it was. Your stomach was probably going, what the fuck is this?
Yeah. The majority of the food that we ate in prison was a stew, and I've never ate a stew since.
No, I bet you haven't.
I think I'm off stew for a long time. But it got to the time where we're at the visa place, and I picked the flight where I would only be in Dubai an hour for my exchange flight, and something must have came up because the embassies were checking my flights, and she said to me, she went, Nick, you've got to go the night. And because they were pissing around too much, I couldn't go to the airport to see my sister.
Oh, yeah, of course.
So it was a bit annoying. So my sister was wondering. So I said, look, I've got just get yourself home. This is the flight I've got to get. I've got to go tonight. And she went, what do you mean? I said, they're kicking me out, basically. They're wanting the heat off with now. So literally everyone had to leave that country. Didn't matter where you had to fucking go, get out that India.
Yeah, get the fuck out.
My flight was fucking booked. Get me to Dubai. So a 4-hour flight. I hadn't slept in a week here. I am running on fucking caffeine and fumes here and adrenaline.
Yeah.
Got to Dubai. Had to wait 6 hours. Literally, I had no money, no phone. Well, I couldn't get on the Wi-Fi. And anyone who's been to Dubai knows you can always get Wi-Fi. It's like someone was saying, "Do not let Nick connect."
Yeah, he's not allowed it.
He's not allowed. And I was on in the airport, and had this Americano that I managed to somehow get, and I made it last because I was thinking if I fall asleep and miss my flight, that's going to go down a fucking tree.
Yeah.
I managed to get on the flight, and I had to endure a 7-hour flight. And I tell you what, I had my own trolley dolly, but it was low key. She wouldn't serve anyone else. She would discreetly fuck them off, and she would always come to me. And I noticed people recognized us from that flight because I was like that. I looked at my hair's all over the shop, and I'm like that. Looked like I haven't slept in a week, which I hadn't. Not too good, because you think, well, everyone's got this. Oh, I'll just jump in that nice bed and I'll be plush.
Yeah,
it's not like that.
No,
I tried to sleep on the floor, man.
Yeah.
I was more comfortable sleeping on the floor than I was.
Well, because you're used to it, aren't you? Yeah.
Because I was used to it. Like my ex at the time, she was like, "Nick, what are you doing?" I said, "I've got to sleep on the floor here. I kind of get comfortable."
It's like Castaway, isn't it? Is it Castaway?
Castaway, aye.
Yeah, where he gets picked up and then he's in the hotel, but he has to sleep on the. Yeah, sleep on the floor, doesn't he?
It's so surreal. It's weird, but like, I was drained. Absolutely drained. A few people on the plane were like, mouth, and I was like, there's no one disturbed us, and it was absolutely lovely. And they said, right, we're going to be coming into Newcastle soon. Do you want to get off the plane first? Do you just want to wait? I said, I'll just let everyone get off first, because it's going to be bustling. I'm pretty jet lagged.
Yeah.
And I'm like nodding off, and I always had dreams, and one dream was the same. But one thing in that dream always remained the same, is when you come in and the captain says, right, can you buckle up, get back your seats, we're coming into airspace and we're going to approach the land.
Yeah.
Something along the same line. That happened, and honestly, you'd think Duracell battery out, high-powered Duracell battery in. And I was like, boom.
Yeah.
Everything. And on my flight path, it kind of comes near where my town is. And I was looking out the window and I was like buzzing, thinking.
I bet you was. Yeah.
Excuse me, the most important time of my life, I never realized was the fucking hardest. And we landed, everyone got off the plane. The captain came out, all the trolley dollies were shaking my hand saying, welcome home. I literally got to the top of the stairs and crisp, British, clean December air. Beautiful. Was amazing. And I started walking down the steps and the baggage handlers were like clapping, saying welcome home. And I choked and I've only fell down because I was becoming so overwhelmed. And the bus was stood there. And I thought, and I kind of got on the bus and I went, sorry. And they were like, oh, no, don't worry.
Yeah.
For you. And then we went like that. And I was at the main doors. And one of the airport staff picked us up. And like I've said many times, I like to say thank you to Newcastle Airport for facilitating my welcome home. It was truly amazing to what you did, because the carousel hadn't even turned up and my bag was waiting.
Wow.
My bag was waiting before the rest of my flight's carousel started. It's like the baggage handler jumped on that plane and went, where's his scruffy purple cobweb-ridden bag? Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
That bag looks like it's been in India. I'm ready to do that.
Yeah.
It was atrocious. And I got me bag, and I went past the one door into the next. She stopped us and she went, right, I can't do this journey. This journey's for you alone. And she went. And I tell you what, I stopped and I was like trying to compose myself, and other people from a different flight, or maybe there's certain people on my flight getting their bags and filtering through. Like, it opened up and I saw all the media down one side, my family and people who were coming to see us down one side, and then it shut again. And I shit myself. The most amazing time of my life has now become the hardest.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it. I was like, how the fuck do I do this? You know, I've been waiting for this moment for 4 years and I can't even walk through them doors, you know, and I was like, what? So I kind of built myself back up, and I started to walk, and some other guy came out, opened the door, and my dad must have been talking to my sister, and he's clocked us, and he's going, he's there, and I've gone, I saw Lisa turn, and then it was like a magnet.
Yeah.
And that's when you see, obviously, we come together. When I come through them doors, it was just amazing.
It was a beautiful moment.
To just see people who took that time to witness this, and I later found out it was all on Facebook Live. People were getting their hair done, stopping watching me come home.
Come home.
And just seeing their amazing comments, because what my sister did was she touched a lot of people's heart.
Yeah.
Because, you know, we'll never hear stuff like this. It's always about someone who's really done something bad, and you hear that, but you never hear something of a massive miscarriage of judgment.
Yeah. Oh, exactly.
If I was guilty, I would have admitted it to my family, and I don't think, and it wouldn't have been on the same wavelength, because my sister didn't have a leg to stand on if I was guilty. Because I was innocent, she made a promise. I will do everything I can to raise awareness and try and get you home in one way, shape, or another. But unfortunately, it was down to our legal team. And, you know, like I say, unfortunately, it was down to a man's health, which made things progress a lot quicker. And that's a horrible thing to think about, that India were going to risk someone of us to die for me to get my freedom.
Yeah, that's fucking sickening.
But seeing my mum for the first time, okay, it was in a wheelchair, it destroyed me.
I bet it did.
Care about anyone else in the world, but to see her again.
Yeah.
You know, and the media are fantastic. They weren't like what everyone perceives them to be at times. They were really, the media that supported me, I thank them as well, because I know a lot of the other families were a bit skeptical on talking with the media, but they weren't as bad as what they thought.
Yeah.
My sister gave the media what they want, because they were defending me. They were not painting me in a bad light because I was innocent. And I did 2 live ITV and BBC News that evening, and you could see time was catching up on me.
Yeah, I was going to say they did it that evening as well. Cheers.
I was licked beyond.
I bet you were like, I just want to go home and have a decent meal, hot bath, chill out for a bit. Can we do this? Like,
was what the first thing. I just wanted a bath. I hadn't had a bath for like 4 years.
I bet you just wanted to be clean. Yeah,
proper clean.
Like proper, yeah. Like there's washing in there, but then there's
washing my clothes in a bucket. I got them same clothes, put them in washer, let's say they were a whiter shade of white. Some of the clothes.
You know.
Mental. But yeah, it was an end of a chapter. But I didn't think it would lead on to another chapter.
Yeah.
I thought that was it. Obviously, once good things happened, and I've met some amazing people.
Yeah,
did some amazing things.
It's,
but when the dust settles,
yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's when everything goes quiet. It's when everything goes quiet that it creeps up on you.
Yeah.
But as we said in the messages on Instagram, we'll save that for a part 2 when we
because
dive deeper into that. Because otherwise we're going to go full Joe Rogan here, and we'll be here for 4 hours.
Well, I've had a few people where they're going, right, Nick, we've got an hour and a half, and then this, and it's getting close to an hour and a half, and they said, Nick, just keep going.
Yeah, I definitely would. I definitely would.
I don't want to stop. I want to keep listening, because you're blowing my mind at how humble and how honest you are, and how emotional, you are showing the viewers and the listeners.
100%, mate. You literally are through every bit of your story. You're showing everything from the emotional side to the humorous side to the strong side to the side where you're vulnerable, and it is really compelling. Which is why
when we do the second part, I'll show you what the vulnerable side is.
Yeah, and we're looking forward to that, definitely. But obviously, the reason why I'm going to cut it short for this time is, well, it is fucking getting late, and I got regular human work at 5 a.m. So, yeah, trust me, if this was my full-time job, I'd be out here all the time. But one can dream. One can dream. Yeah. But before we close off, Nick, one thing I do want to sort of just touch on before the timer runs out anyway. Yeah. How come you're a United fan and not a Newcastle fan?
This is a lot of people ask me this. As I was getting into football at such a young age, I remember someone buy me, the old Liverpool grey strip when they had candy.
Yeah. I know the one.
And I looked at it, and you got to put it on to make people really appreciate it. And I was like, I went, get that off. And my family sports Newcastle. And red's my favourite colour. And my mum's told me that my granddad, who I never met because he died before I was born, supported Man United. So then I started getting into Man United, and then I realised, obviously, Bobby Charlton comes from the town I'm from, Ashington. Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
So I just started following Man United, and obviously, yes, people, you call us what you want. I've sat and watched we get beat 6-1, 7-0 this season. Obviously, yes, it would have been great to be at the stadium. I try to go to the games as best as I can, but I will always support Man United. And
same here.
What Tom Hanks is doing is fantastic. We're starting to pick up injuries, but that is not a bad thing, because it goes to show you how you need squad depth.
Need squad depth, and it also shows that how far we come, that we're fighting on all fronts. Played the most games in Europe.
Yes, exactly. And it goes to show we are playing the United way. And the United way is to win everything.
Exactly.
If you're, and I kept hearing, sacrifice the Carabao Cup, sacrifice the FA Cup, focus on top 4. You are not a United fan if you think that.
I agree. I totally agree.
If you say that in Alex Ferguson, he'd slap the fucking living shit out of you. Because he was built on gambling and winning. The last 15 minutes, you're 2-0 down. Fergie just went, get the fuck off, get on the pitch, win.
Yeah,
and would win 3-2, or would narrowly get beat 2-1, or would draw 2-2. Yeah. We're starting to see that again.
Definitely are. And
Oh,
looking forward to the game tomorrow.
yes.
All to
It's a
play for.
shame we couldn't have gone there 2-0, but that's football for you.
Exactly.
2 stupid own goals. But
Exactly.
fuck me. How?
Yeah. But
That's
Nick,
why it's a beautiful game. But
yeah,
anyways,
mate, genuinely privileged to have you on, and we will definitely book in for either next week or a week after, whenever you're free, and we'll get that second part done.
That's great. Thank you for having it.
No, I appreciate it. Thanks for your time. I'll catch you soon. Cheers, buddy.
Bye-bye.
Hello. You're at the adverts, so don't turn off. Don't turn off, because I've got some good stuff for you. First up, I'm going to talk about our sponsors. Kent CBD is our first sponsor. Now, CBD oil, as you know, has tremendous benefits, especially within mental health and physical health. Personally, I use it to help with my anxiety and my depression, but not only that, I also use it to help with the aches and pains of life in my joints, especially my ankles and my knees. But yeah, without CBD oil, I would have still been on my antidepressant tablets, which I'm no longer on. So, every cloud. And what we're going to do here at Granite Zero is we're going to give you 10% off everything from oil, muscle rub, jellies, bath salts, the lot. Yeah? Make sure you get in there. www.kentcbd.org. Put in the promo code GRANITE0 and get yourself 10% off. You are welcome. But also, if you're like me and you love a nice cup of coffee. Now, for me, I only drink one coffee, and that's Green Beret coffee. Now, I don't only drink it because it's out of this world fucking coffee, roast to order, grinded to whatever specific grind you want. But not only that, it's veteran owned and veteran run, which, hits me right in the feels. So make sure you check it out, Green Beret Coffee. Get yourself a nice cup of coffee. I drink it dark, just like my soul. Incredible stuff, incredible stuff. And what I'm going to give for you, I'm going to give you 10% off. So once you get to the checkout, once you've got all your coffee, your products, your apparel, whatever you need, get to the checkout and put in the promo code GZPodcast10 and get yourself 10% off. Courtesy of the Granite Zero podcast. You are welcome. Now, that's enough of me talking about this stuff. Back to the regular scheduled show. Check it out!